Dungeon Meshi. What if we took the food and turned it into drinks? This one was a bit of a challenge. That's gonna set the mood. I'm begging you, stop. I wish I could describe to you what just happened to me. Wait. Add Taco Bell Diablo sauce to the drink. I'm crazy. I'm wrong. Oh, I never get tired of that feeling. I am burning to death. Let's dive into the dungeon and see what we can make from the monstrous denizens of Delicious in Dungeon. Dungeon Meshi, aka Delicious in Dungeon. An anime that has been quite the hit recently, and honestly, it's pretty well deserved. This is a fantastic series. Trigger, I love them. They did an amazing job, shocking no one. My friend recommended me this manga ages ago, which is why I have this volume. And I read part of it and just kind of, I don't know why I fell off, but finally I decided to catch up on the anime, and that was a great decision. That's a really good show. And obviously, doing what I do now, my immediate thought was, what if we took the food and turned it into drinks? So here we are. Now, the original idea was to dress as Laios, but then I realized I had nothing that could mirror plate armor, so I decided to go with Chill Chuck. Because let's be honest, me dressed as the exhausted, bitter, pessimistic character, that just feels like it fits a whole lot better. Nothing hurt me more than seeing all of those Chill Chuck being middle-aged memes, and then finding out he's only 29. Guys, please, I'm begging you, stop. That's not old. Now, as much as I really liked this idea and came up with some cool things for it, I will admit, this one was a bit of a challenge. Now, obviously, since they're cooking in every chapter or episode, you think you would get a few more ideas out of it. But then you realize, oh yeah, most of what they're cooking is like savory meat dishes, eggs, plants, stuff like that. Not a lot of things that can be translated well into the sweet, syrupy realm of cocktails. Now, there is canonically alcohol in the dungeon. We do see a bar in one scene, and they find a stash of wine in another. But as far as I know, and as far as the show has gotten so far, there's not really been any cocktails. So we had to get inventive with it. But nonetheless, I did do it, and as you can see, it only took the kind of wildly scribbled notes that you would expect of the Mad Mage. Now then, let's dive into the dungeon and see what we can make from the monstrous denizens of Delicious in Dungeon. So I had stopped watching around episode 1 or 2, and by the time I came back to this video, we were already on episode 21 or 22 at that point. So I just hopped right back in at episode 3 because I had already seen the first 2 episodes and I had read most of this, so I remembered them well enough to remember there wasn't really anything for me to use there. But then in, I believe, episode 4 or 5 was my first major spark of inspiration. And you may be surprised to find out that that was the treasure bugs. And honestly, what kind of drink would a treasure bug be if it wasn't a shot? So I started toying with the idea and how to get that golden coin color or those beautiful crystals. And I think it's a pretty darn fun idea. Now, when it came to the crystal tiara aspect, that seemed like a pretty good excuse to go with the fun, multicolored sugar rim. Now, doing a sugar rim is much like doing a salt one. We're going to start by using a lime wedge to wet about half of our shot glass. We're going to carefully pour out a little line of our rainbow sugar, then just roll the wet end of the glass onto the sugar. Then you clean up all the rainbow sugar that has gotten all over your counter, and honestly just throw it away because, I don't know, this was like $2 and there's so much of it, I don't feel that bad. And there you have a nice crystal tiara for your shot glass. Now that we've got our precious gems, all we need now is the gold. Now, it's not just going to be gold tequila, this is just the most obvious one, and the only one with gold in the name, so we're going to start with half an ounce of gold tequila. Now, I want a myriad of beautiful gold, much like the collection of treasure bugs they find in that chest. And since we've already got our golden tequila, we must ask, well, what else is gold? And if you know me, you already know where I'm going with this. Whiskey. Now, it's rare for me to say whiskey instead of bourbon, but in this case, I think a good Japanese or Scotch whiskey is really going to do you better here. Something with that kind of woody peatiness is just going to go a whole lot better with that beautiful golden tequila stank that I just love so much. In this instance, I am using this Suntory World Whiskey Owl. You don't have to spend this much on a whiskey for this. Like I said, just some Scotch or Japanese whiskey that has that peaty flavor. This is just the one that I have right now that fits the bill the most. And we're gonna go ahead and do another ½ ounce of our whiskey. And for our last ½ ounce, we're gonna go with gin. Now, in particular, this is Monk's Road's bourbon barrel finished gin. This is probably my favorite gin. Monk's Road is a bourbon distillery who happens to also make a gin, and one of their gins is aged in bourbon barrels, and it makes for the most smooth drinking experience I've ever had. You could drink this like water. It is crazy good. Do you need to get this one for this drink? No, a clear gin will still keep the color. I just think this one is really good. I think it gives the rest of the drink that nice smoothness from that bourbon barrel finish, and it also matches the color perfectly. So, strong recommend if you can find it, even if you just want a really cool, super smooth gin. But if you can't find it, just any gin that's not gonna change your color too much will be just fine. And like I said, one last ½ ounce of our gin. And just make sure to get all of them on your counter a little bit. We make a mess while cooking, okay? And finally, go ahead and serve that with a lime wedge. And there you have a treasure bug. The gold of the coins and the beautiful gem tiara, all in one bite-sized package. Now you may have noticed that my lime wedge is a bit big. Ideally, you would take this kind of like a tequila shot. Slam it down with the sugar rim and then bite down on the lime, but I need to sip it to tell you what it tastes like. So instead of biting on the lime, I'm just gonna squirt some of the lime juice into the drink and tell you what it tastes like. This is entirely optional. If you don't wanna bite down on a lime wedge and just do it this way, it'll probably be a little more tame on that lime flavor, but I just need to tell you what it tastes like, so we're just gonna squirt some of the lime juice into there. Cheers. Whoa, okay. That was like every flavor, one after the other. It's also so weird having a cocktail that's not cold. I was not ready for the room temperature part, but here we are. That's a shot for you, I guess. It's just the fun, funky parts of all three of these. The first thing you kind of get when you do it this way is the lime juice, but then it starts with that herbal smoothness of the gin that then slowly gives way into the tequila stank. And then the finish brings up the burn from the whiskey. One more sip and then I'll just do it. That's so cool. It's just a highlight of each one. They work in tandem, not in conjunction, if that makes sense. They're not combining, they're running a relay race together. All right, we just gotta do it. Whoa! I wish I could describe to you what just happened to me. I just saw into the Matrix for a second. That process I was describing where one was leading into the other, just crashing on you all at once. Your brain is noticing each one, but it's like your consciousness doesn't. Wow. Yeah, that's a shot. Whew. That's a piece of treasure right there. It's a good thing I took those sips first so I could tell you what the order was and what's going on. Because when you do it that way, oh, that's a whole new experience. And by that I mean it's the exact same experience, just condensed into a millisecond. Wow, that is well worth making just to experience that for yourself. That is like nothing I've ever had to drink. Like I said, it's the weird parts of each one. Now, I'll say I can tell that a lot of the smoothness is from this particular gin because I've had enough of this to recognize it compared to the other ones. You know, if you don't like the funky parts of stuff, you probably won't like this. But as someone who really enjoys the weird parts of the liquor, this is like a machine gun of those flavors into your mouth. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I loved that. That was a hell of an experience. If you're having a dungeon Meshi party, everybody's gotta start with one of those. That's gonna set the mood. Because that is the exact experience of eating a monster in a dungeon. It is that feeling of, oh, wait, oh, that was actually great. Like everything hitting you at once makes you feel like I should hate this. But then you realize, wait, no, every part of that tasted good. I'm crazy. I'm wrong. This is good. And getting over that experience is exactly what I wanted that to be. That is a way to set the mood right there. Unlike the tiny treasure bugs, this is certainly valuable. And there's lime juice in there too, which you'd probably get more if you just bit straight into it, but... also, of course I turned the AC off so it didn't ruin the audio, and I'm wearing a heavy vest. So even though this was only a shot, I'm gonna go take a break so I can just let the AC run for a while. Enjoy the next segment. Hi, welcome to the intermission. I'm gonna try and keep it short because like I said at the end of the last bit, I am burning to death. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you are enjoying this so far, and I hope you enjoy the rest. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all of the YouTube things. I am literally dying right now for your enjoyment. So, remember to share this with everybody that you know who likes delicious and dungeon or cocktails. It would be very much appreciated. Don't forget, you can also become a member where you will get early videos, exclusive videos, etc. But if you can't, like I said, sharing and doing all of the normal YouTube things is massively helpful. So thank you once again so much for watching, and please enjoy the rest of the video. Alright, I have some good news for you. This section should, hopefully, be a bit shorter than usual. Why is that, you might ask? Well, that's because I already know everything I want to say about this drink. Because I already said it last night. Unfortunately, the footage for that sounds like this. So, here we are. Also, I'm not going to bother reshooting the second camera angle, so if, for whatever reason, the shots don't line up perfectly, that's why. Because it's from last night. I just need to tell you how to make the drink. But what is the drink, you might be asking? Well, I'd be hard-pressed to talk about this series and not make a drink based on the Red Dragon. And so that's what we're gonna make. Now this drink is a bit similar to a cocktail I made in another video called The Boot Hill, which in turn was based on an existing cocktail called the Mexican Firing Squad. But what made the Boot Hill unique and gave it its nickname of Gunsmoke was its use of Mezcal. For those unaware, Mezcal is a cousin of Tequila that is known for its much more smoky flavor. But where there's smoke and also a giant red dragon, there must also be fire. That's right, baby, the fireball's back. You cannot keep me away from it. Alright, so first we're gonna add some ice. And as the new star of our show, we're gonna lead off with 2 ounces of fireball. But as we said, fire is always followed by smoke. So we're gonna throw in 1 ounce of Mezcal. And let's be honest, what's a good tequila or mezcal drink without some lime juice? So we're gonna add about 3/4 of an ounce of freshly squeezed lime juice. And to give it that red dragon color, we're gonna add 1/4 of an ounce of Grenadine. Why not the 3/4 of an ounce we used in the Boot Hill or a Mexican Firing Squad? Well, quite simply, the Fireball is already sweet enough. The Grenadine is mostly just there to give it that color and just an extra little flavor. Last, but most certainly not least to me, and to round out that cinnamon flavor with a bit more robustness, 4 dashes of Angostura Bitters. And now we shake. And then we strain into our rocks glass. Finally, go ahead and garnish it with a lime wedge. And there you have a red dragon. Oh, I never get tired of that feeling. When you take that sip, at first everything is so sweet and pleasant in your mouth. And then when you swallow, the fire from the cinnamon and the smoke from the mezcal all work their way back up to make you feel like you're breathing fire. It is such a cool feeling and flavor. The heat at that end is just, oh, I love it. And while the Boot Hill did have cinnamon smoked over it, but what actually adding the Fireball does is really give it that cinnamon heat, which gives your brain a fun thematic excuse to taste that smoke. I'll admit, the second part might be where you lose people, but that first sip is so accessible, it's so sweet. It's the sweet part of the Grenadine and the lime juice and the Fireball all just playing together, and then you swallow, and that's where you're reminded that this is a red dragon. It is really cool to me the way that you really don't get any of those hints of the smoke or the cinnamon quite yet. It's only in that finish. It's only ever that surprise kick in the end. And again, they don't just appear, they come back up from the depths like you are exhaling a grand flame. I think that you could get most people to enjoy this drink. I think this is the type of thing that you could serve at a chain restaurant, like, I don't know, Chili's. I think it's sweet enough and approachable enough the general audience would enjoy it. It's not spicy, but you feel the heat. It's not so smoky that it's off-putting, because again, it's only in that finish. So it's always a nice surprise at the end. I enjoy squeezing the lime wedge back over it. I think that gives the sweetness at the front a bit more roundness. Up front is the lime juice into the grenadine, and then that sweeter part of Fireball. It's not quite the cinnamon, the sweet flavor that you get when you're drinking Fireball. And then when you hit that finish, that's where the rest of it comes into play. The bitters, shockingly, I can tell they're doing something, but they are all along the bottom. They're supporting the drink the whole time. They're not ever truly on display, but you can feel, oh, that's because of the bitters. The way that this is being held up, that's from the bitters. All right, so I did this next thing sort of as a bit last night, saying that, well, this is sort of like the boot hill, so I want to add something to kind of change it and give you guys something fun to watch. But then it was just unironically pretty good, so I kind of just want to do it again. And that is to really finish off the fiery presence of a red dragon, add Taco Bell Diablo sauce to the drink. Now, I would like to remind everyone, I am a white man, if that wasn't obvious, which means I don't like spicy food. I'm pretty bad with it, actually. In fact, my mouth burns a little bit just from this. And this just has cinnamon in it. So, that should tell you how well it went when I tasted this on its own. It looks something like this. But, again, just a couple drops of this in your red dragon shockingly makes it very tasty. What it does is give it a little bit of a tomatoey flavor, starting to almost feel close to like a Bloody Mary, like a smoky, cinnamony Bloody Mary, but a spicy Bloody Mary nonetheless. What it does to the finish is amplify the heat. It's starting to kick in. The cinnamon heat that was there at first is noticeable, but still subtle. It's not so much a spicy heat, it's Fireball. It's just a little bit of a kick that you have some fun with for a few seconds, and then it dissipates. What the Diablo sauce does is slowly continue to burn. As you drink it, you're reminded no longer are you breathing fire, the gas is always there, and all it needs is that spark. It is genuinely a really pretty fun addition. And I'm saying that as someone who hates heat, who hates spice. If I had the whole drink, I probably could actually get away with using the entire packet. I'm mostly just doing drops because I've already had it, almost all of it. Did this last night too. I drink this one way too fast. That should go to show you how fun it is though. Oh, there's the tomato now. Now that I've had it a few more drops. The tomato is up front, and then all the sweetness envelops you. And the finish is that same kind of smoky and fiery flavor you had before, but like I said, that heat just slowly keeps building in the back of your throat. And the more and more you drink it, the more and more it comes out. And the more and more I start sweating in this vest. Okay, there's the heat. It's there now. Oh, it's a slow build, but it builds nonetheless. Alright, let's try and get this outro done quickly before I need to start chugging chocolate milk again. Thank you again so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun making it, and, well, a little less fun having to remake part of it, but it was still fun nonetheless. And like I said at the start, this one was a bit tricky. But if you want more, I'd be happy to do more, because I think this series is really fun. Or if you want to see drinks based on other shows or anime, please let me know. Please don't forget... That one had a lot more hot sauce in it. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and do all the YouTube things. Become a member, and you get all of those cool perks I explained earlier. Oh. And remember to share this with anyone you know who likes delicious in dungeon, or cocktails, or watching a man slowly burn to death in his kitchen from the lack of AC, the heavy winter vest he's wearing in the summer, or the Diablo sauce. That one's gonna be really bad. Oh, it is. Alright, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. And always remember the first rule of the dungeon, stay safe. And the second rule, always have a good drink on hand. Why did I do that? I'm gonna go turn on my AC.